The journey is finally over. After 431 chapters in the manga and 8 full seasons of the anime, My Hero Academia is finished. Kohei Horikoshi has truly brought life to one of the most creative universes that has entered the mainstream world. His story has impacted so many people across the earth for the better and has put so many smiles on the faces of people that gave it a chance. Horikoshi deserves all his flowers and then some, as well as a long, well-earned rest until he decides to pick up his next story, whether that be in the My Hero universe or something completely different. But overall, the point of this video is to simply say, thank you. My Hero Academia isn't a perfect story by any means, but it holds a special place in my heart. Its first episode had me hooked with a flashy display of unconventional powers and creative direction. It really gave a good sense of the stakes involved, along with the sheer scale it could amount to, even if it only was the most minor of minor battles. It was a truly fascinating glimpse into the wide world of quirks and rules around them, and how everybody is able to function in a regulated society with these relatively recently discovered powers. Although from there, what would follow would be the instances that truly impacted me the most. Episode 3 was where I can most likely say that my general interest turned into an outright love for the franchise. After rescuing Bakugo in just the episode before, I was metaphorically screaming at the TV screen, watching the other heroes chastise Deku for being reckless and praising Bakugo for fighting back. But witnessing All Might see through the fog to give Deku the praise he deserved was cathartic and really worthy of my respect. I'll be the first to tell you that I'm not the greatest at straight up analysis of certain shows, but I'll be damned if I didn't say that My Hero's first 3 episodes are nothing short of amazing storytelling and a genius way to get into the plot as a whole. And it's not just that praise of All Might that made me so enamored, but the training montage that Deku underwent to prepare for the UA entrance exam became a catalyst for me to start working out for myself. This episode had real-life ramifications on me for the better. That's one of the highest compliments I can give. Sure, the in-universe training might have been a little absurd, but the results that were displayed was everything I needed to see and then some. It's nothing but motivating to see the fruits of your labor after months and months of excruciatingly hard work. And while I can keep gushing over personal highlights of the show, one point where I can absolutely join in with the community's praise as a whole is the show's tournament arc. People have said before that this tournament arc is up there with some of the best alongside Hunter x Hunter and Yu Yu Hakusho, and I'm willing to agree with them. We finally get an in-depth look at some of the more prominent characters of the story, and I really start to care about most of them. Todoroki wants to get out of his father's shadow. Bakugo wants to prove that he's the best of the best, but the one who resonated with me the most out of all has to be Uraraka. Her reason for being a hero on the surface, along with her honesty, are some of the realest in the entire genre of shonen. But underneath the hood is where her motivations really start to shine with the purest of intentions. All she wants to do is make enough money so that she can retire her parents and give back to them, along with the goal of seeing the smiles of all the people she would eventually come to help. And when it came to the battles themselves, her battle with Bakugo resulted in such a challenge of moral and societal norms that it actually put them on an even playing field where both of their goals at the end of it was just to win at all costs. And like all the other battles, Bakugo vs Uraraka was at its most hype when every single quirk had creative applications put into it. It was such a spectacle to watch, and it made me a fan of so many of the characters. My Hero Academia has its fair share of turning points in the show, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say that its most consequential one was All Might's battle with All for One and his subsequent retirement after. Up until that point, All Might was the backbone of Hero Society, the beacon of hope and prosperity. But in this battle, he faced the hardship of learning that the grandson of his own mentor was the one responsible for kidnapping Bakugo and the attack on the USJ facility. So not only only was All Might fighting against someone that forced the limits of his quirk the first time around, he was now also fighting a battle on the psych. And even if All Might is the knight in shining armor for the world, there's only so much one man can take. Although he would eventually win out against All for One in the end, it would come at the cost of his quirk and thus the moment where he would pass the torch to Deku. To everyone else watching that battle, it was seen as another victory and triumph over another criminal. But for Midoriya, it represented the loss of his hero and idol, combined with the fact that it was now his time to mature and grow into the hero he envisioned for himself and would eventually become. And that's what makes the second round of Deku vs Bakugo just as meaningful. Secrets are spilled and tensions are high. Fists are flying as much as both of their feelings. And it's what truly made me grow to respect Bakugo and cemented him as one of my favorite characters overall. The man is racked with so much guilt that he thinks he's the reason for why All Might had to retire being a hero in the first place. That mental strain would weigh anybody down with the force of 1,000 suns. But in turn, it allows him to grow from a hot-headed and arrogant loudmouth to someone that is now learning how to see within themselves who they really are and the heights of their abilities with how far they can go if they want to undergo that change. After the conclusion of that arc is where we first start to see some of the not as strong sections in the franchise. The Deku vs Overhaul arc was great, and I'd protect Eri with my life, who wouldn't? Mirio, Nejire, and Tamaki are three great additions to the cast with standout personalities that anybody can vibe with as well. But I can't say I'm as big of a fan as the Gentle Criminal arc. That's not to say that I'm not a fan. I think it's okay at worst and good at best, just not as big of a fan. Every shonen show is going to have a few misses here and there. And while I understand the overarching themes and why it was needed for Deku to become an even better hero, it felt like I was getting whiplash in the pacing and stakes, seemingly right after a battle that had the world by the throat. Also, I know that it's a show that has students in a school and kids are supposed to be doing kid things like study for tests, fall in love, culture festival shenanigans, etc, etc. But this is the section of the show I was just outright least interested in. And that criticism could also be extended to the class versus class arc in season 5. And while seeing Deku discover how to use his other newfound quirks was a little fascinating, it didn't necessarily have that big oomph factor to keep me as fully engaged. But as the saying goes, 1 is an accident, 2 is a coincidence, and 3 or more is a pattern. But this show broke out of that curse before it got to that third step. Because from here on out is where you could say that My Hero Academia has reached its second true climax. And it lasts for 3 whole seasons. Seasons 6 through 8 are truly just the length of cinema unlike any other. Hell, even before that, when it was the villain vs villain arc, I was still at the edge of my seat. Villain vs villain fights are just one of the best things you could watch in anime. So many clashing ideals coming to the forefront, not knowing who to really root for, if you even want to root for anybody at all, and then witnessing the eventual combination of the two enemy factions into one coalition powerful enough to rival an entire nation's army. It's just chef's kiss. It genuinely felt like the Paranormal Liberation Army were unbeatable. They finally became the threat that they envisioned themselves to be back when the first season of the show aired. I knew at that point we were in for something special. I could make a whole video about just this section alone, but if I did that, it'd be longer than this entire video here. But there are so many moving parts in the last few seasons of this show that one misstep can derail the whole thing. And it can't be understated how good of a job this show did navigating through each and every plot point with care and not leaving out any small details. From Shigaraki's awakening to the multi-front hero raid to the vigilante arc all the way to the final battle with All for One, every bit of it all encapsulated into why I fell in love with the show in the first place. Not only was every quirk displayed unique enough for even the nameless characters to have their own identity, but the story allowed for them to have their their motivations revealed and have just as much impact indirectly within the context of the story. Some of the more minor characters also get to contribute with meaning in their own way, especially the less involved characters of Class 1A, yet the spotlight is always going to shine on the one who delivers the finishing blow. And it couldn't have been more well earned for Deku if it tried to be. And with the help of Studio Bones putting all of their heart and soul into something of this size, they took on the challenge and delivered with the most memorable moment of the show, and truly one of the most memorable moments in anime history. Seeing My Hero Academia finally come to its conclusion after a decade is kind of like watching your kid grow up and raising it in the way you imagined it would. So many proud moments, a few fumbles and mistakes, but you still love it all the same and you wouldn't trade it for the world. That's at least how it was for me. And I'm so happy this show got the conclusion it got, because I wouldn't want it any other way. Thank you for watching the video to the end. Words can't truly describe the roller coaster that this show has put me through. But if this video tries to make an attempt at it, the best thing I can say about it is I would ride it again and again. If you like these videos, I have plenty more for you to watch on the channel. We're also getting very close to 1,000 subscribers, so if you want to join the journey to help reach that milestone, then click that subscribe button so you don't miss another video. If you want to check me out elsewhere, I have a Twitch channel where I go live multiple times a week where we talk anime and play games with the community. You could also join the Discord as well to stay up to date with my streams and videos and just chill and say hi to the community. All of those links will be down in the description for you to check out. That's gonna be it for me, guys. I'm also thinking of a cool outro phrase to conclude these videos with, so if you have something in mind, let me know down in the comment section. Until then, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.